Hi, my name is John Changshaw, and I will be covering all of the procedural safeguards that go along with the components of an IEP. First and foremost, FAPE. It's a free, appropriate public education, so that means no charge to you or your student. It's appropriate and will keep within the boundaries of our IEP. It's essentially a public expense that goes along with public supervision and direction, and it is no charge to you. Education, this will be covered up until 12th grade or in Elkhart County up to age 22, and your child will be placed in the least restrictive environment. Our evaluations will be fair. We do not discriminate against your student based off of their disability, gender, race, religion, language, culture, or mode of communication. Essentially, under these procedures, we have 50 school days to determine if your student is eligible to receive special education and any related services. Reevaluations, at least one time every 3 years in Elkhart County under ECSC, which is the Elkhart County Special Education Cooperative here in Goshen, Indiana. If the decision is made to reevaluate a child, it is conducted in either a 50 school day timeline or before a child's next annual case review. Our case annual reviews are at the end of the year. The case conference committees, or the CCC. You're a member of that committee and making these decisions. So we will meet at least every 12 months. Generally, we try to hold that in May. And you're just as much as that conference as the behavioral specialist, the our psychologist, principal, and SPED teacher, and general education teacher. Your say also matters in our process, and we want to make sure we have a unanimous vote because we want to have the best education that you're comfortable with and the child is comfortable with. There will be a written notice for all of these evaluations or any sort of meetings given to you, and there'll be a written notice. Schools must conduct this whether we propose or refuse some sort of adjustment to the IEP. So if we're conducting an initial evaluation, a reevaluation, if they're eligible, or to change something in the IEP. So whether they're doing really good, we want to make it maybe take away some of their accommodations, or for them to maybe be more in the general education population. We need to essentially give you a written notice, not a verbal one, to you, and for you to sign and give that back to us and say, yes, this is okay, or no, this is not okay. If there's a refusal, then potentially we could have a meeting to discuss some sort of alternative or meet on some common ground. Confidentiality. Essentially, we're not going to release anything to any other family, any other people that we know. Your child's label in the SPED program will be totally safe between us and any other teachers that we deem necessary to be aware of your child's situation. But we will make sure there's parent consent before we tell anyone or allow any other teachers, so essentially you'll have to sign off on that. And like I said, parent consent must be attained before the child is evaluated. The school can provide special education related services. Before the school can release or assess public benefits or insurance proceeds, so like Medicaid and things like that. Or if we have any sort of public agency calling, so if you sign up for a counselor as a related service and they call us back, we can't release that information without your written consent. Educational records, a copy of the psychological records and IEP will be provided to you at no cost at the time of the initial enrollment and at subsequent annual case reviews. So that is just something we provide to make sure you have a written document of any sort of evals that we conduct or any sort of IEP that we construct. But we'll make sure you always have an updated version of that IEP. Components of our IEP. Generally, we like to have annual progress goals and quarterly objectives just to make sure your student is on track to receiving the best education that they have and that they are not regressing. Rather, there's always growth being shown with your child. We'll make sure that all the goals will be measured and have measurable ways that we can see growth is happening. So, like assessments, verbal assessments, anything for to accommodate your child to succeed. There'll be also a statement of special education provided for you. Aids, accommodation, or other alterations to the student's educational program. Like I said, we'll give you a written IEP, and any sort of evals that are provided, that we conduct, will be provided to you at no cost. If your child is not participation or showing signs of non-participation, we will show you those notes and update you quarterly, or if there needs to be a more pressing matter, we'll contact you. And hopefully, once we get to the transitional planning, hopefully we can schedule an IEP for your child to start going back into the general education population and not require our services. Disciplinary actions. According to ECSC, the school is authorized to use a range of disciplinary actions when students violate school rules. In general, the school must suspend your child up to 10 days. So within those, not every suspension your child will be given will be 10 days. It'll be up to our discretion or where we see fit. So if it's like your child punches somebody, on like a Thursday, we probably won't have them come back until Monday, so they'll miss the rest of Thursday whenever it happened, and probably all of Friday. That's just an example. If it happened on Friday, we might deem that they come back on Monday, or maybe they need like an extra day to take off. But once they reach those 10 total days of suspension, on the 11th day of suspension, the school will provide your child with some type of educational service. So maybe that might be in the form of like homebound or online schooling. If your child's behavior is interfering with his or her learning or that of other students, which is the important ones affecting their peers, the schools generally conduct a functional behavior assessment and a positive behavior plan to address this kind of behavior, just to make sure they're not bothering other people and they're still receiving the best education possible. Transfer of rights to the student. At the age of 18, all rights will be addressed in the notice. Procedural safeguards are transferred to the student unless guardianship has been established or the appointment of an educational representative has been made. Essentially, when your child turns 18, we will give them their IEP and they'll be aware of their learning goals and a part of these meetings unless guardianship is established before so. Revocation of consent for special education services. This one's huge. Parent or students 18 years of age or older can revoke or withdraw their consent in writing at any time and withdraw the child from special education services. Once the school or ECSC has received notice of your parents' intent to revoke services, an ECSC administrator will meet with your parents or the parents' guardianship or eligible student to ensure they understand the implications and consequences of this action. If there's any sort of other questions, please reach out, and I'm more than happy to go over everything else. Thank you.